Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at a end game item, I suppose, but also maybe not. This is the Steel Pillar War Pike. The War Pike is an elite item, and so that means it is not going to be upgradable, but it does have an indestructible mechanic, which means it cannot be found in the ethereal form either. So this is as good as it possibly gets. Now, the ethereal, the Steel Pillar War Pike has a damage of 118 to 640, and is probably the highest damage spear class weapon in the game. It does have a dexterity requirement of 106 and a strength requirement of 165, which is relatively high, and a level requirement of 69. Now, the Steel Pillar War Pike being indestructible means obviously we can't find the ethereal and Zod it or anything. But it does also mean that it would probably work extremely well with Impale, which tends to remove durability off of your spear with the quickness. We do have a 25% increased attack speed on this thing, which is actually pretty good considering it's a relatively slow item, and we definitely want that increased attack speed. We have a enhanced damage, which varies from 210 to 260%. I feel like that could be a higher number, especially considering you can make a Breath of the Dying War Pike, which has a higher number than that, and I'm not exactly entirely sure this is going to be the best option, but it is a option. We have 25% chance of Crushing Blow, which is very nice, of course. Crushing Blow, as you know, removes a 25% hit points off of the current hit points of the monster, not the max. And it is 12.5% versus bosses and 10% versus players. We also have an 80% bonus to defense on this thing, which is pretty nice considering the Amazon and a lot of characters that might want to use this would be foregoing a shield and also not able to actually get that defense up. So as you can see there, I'm rocking 1,949, and when I put the War Pike on, I go to 3,508, which is pretty nice. This enhance in defense actually does make a huge difference on its viability. We also have the fact that you could put a socket in this, and you could obviously make this a little bit faster. And I think most people who are using this are probably going to want to make it faster. Now, you could either do a shale rune, or you could do a 15% 40 joule. And I'm not exactly sure a lot of people would even think that this is worthy of a 1540. But if you were going to be using this, the two big things about this is, number one, it's slow, and number two, it has really high damage. So it makes a lot of sense to put a 1540 joule in this if you were actually going to use it, simply because it makes it faster and it also makes it do more damage, which are the two things that it's really trying to give you. Now, the 80% enhanced defense does vary. It varies between 50 to 80%. And we also have a negative 20% to enemy defense on here, which is really nice. And that's going to help you as far as attack rating is concerned. Now, if you pull out your Impale ability, Impale has a really large increase to the amount of damage, and I really would like to do this justice, so I'm going to reset this character, and we're going to beef up Impale to the max, and we're going to take a look and see what it'll be with its highest capability. Alright, so here we go. I have maxed out Impale, and it looks like with maxed Impale, we are looking at a total of 1,745 to 9,377, and of course I could beef that up a little bit further with something like Fortitude, perhaps, which I do have a Fortitude here. It's ethereal, but, and of course we don't have the strength to actually utilize the item when we take off the item. No, the sadness. The sadness. I'm sure that I have something around here that I can use to beef this up just a little bit for right now. Oh no, not quite. Mars almost gives me what I need. Almost, but no cigar. It's okay. We can reset it. It's not that big of a deal. I have it set up so that I can reset this at any time. All right. So now we have the two abilities here, and let me just go ahead and put some more points back into these. There are no synergies for Impale, but that's okay. We do have the critical strike and the penetrate, though, that are insanely good for this particular build because it's going to double our damage. And so let's go ahead and grab these two abilities. So we're rocking, oh, nice. I went up even further. We're rocking 2,100 to 11,000 with Fortitude, which is pretty darn sweet as far as our Impale damage goes. And then our Fend damage isn't looking too horrible at 1,242 to 6,641. Now, the problem with Impale, unfortunately, and this is with bow and crossbow skillers, by the way, so I could be rocking... javelin and spear skillers, which would beef that damage up by quite a bit as well. So let's keep that in mind. And the slowness of this attack does make it a little bit awkward to use, though. However, and this kind of spear is specifically made for large damage hits. I should theoretically be able to one-shot just about any of these monsters. Now, in the future patches, when it comes to this particular ability, they are changing the way this ability works. So Impale is going to guarantee its hit in the upcoming patch. And it is also going to slow down the targets as well. And as you can see, it actually does work fairly nicely with that jewel in there, with the increased attack speed. I'm also running increased attack speed, obviously, from the Andariel's Visage, and I have increased attack speed from the Crusader Gauntlets. If you're going to be running some sort of Impale setup, you're probably going to want as much strength, as much attack speed as you can possibly get. In fact, let me go put High Lords back on, now that I have the appropriate amount of strength and everything. And... of course, now I messed it up, didn't I? Boo-hoo. I really, this is absolutely silly, isn't it? Absolutely silly. So we have here a very high damage Pike, is really what this is. So it's either going to be used for something like a Charge Paladin or an Amazon who is specifically building Impale and Fend. It's also going to be a very nice one for a Barbarian who's running Spear as well. The real issues with this particular item are that there are better options out there. You could make a Breath of the Dying War Pike, which is going to be a very, very strong weapon, and it's faster too, because it has 60% increased attack speed on it. You can also, theoretically, make yourself a very, very nice Tomb Reaver Cryptic Axe that has 3 sockets, and you can build it to your own specific specifications. Now, the Tomb Reaver Cryptic Axe is a polearm, so that means that you're not going to be able to use this on an Amazon or specifically a Spear Barbarian, but of course a Barbarian doesn't have to specifically be Spears. He can switch and swap back and forth between Polearm Mastery and Spear Mastery. Now the Amazon unfortunately cannot use her abilities with a polearm, so if you were to want a really nice polearm item and you happen to have this laying around, this might be a good choice until you can get yourself a Breath of the Dying. Now, the Crushing Blow on this is certainly very nice. The negative targets defense is certainly very nice. But with the coming change to Impale, it's not going to have any real big benefit to have that negative targets defense, because if you're using Impale, you're not worried about the attack rating. Now, Fend, on the other hand, will still require an attack rating bonus. The other really interesting thing about this weapon is that it is a very long-range weapon, so you can really hit monsters from very far away. As you can see here, despite the fact that I'm not even really close to half of these monsters, I'm still able to hit them with the Fend ability as I right-click. So you can really get off a large number of hits with Fend, and you can get a lot of damage. And in the upcoming patch, they're also going to be changing the way that the evades work. So you will actually be able to build the evades with a skill like Fend and actually use it. They're basically, what they're doing is they're going to make the the evades. So the dodge and avoid abilities, both of these, will no longer be uninterruptible, which means that if you use an ability or something like that, it will just interrupt the animation and you can continue along, which will be very nice. So we are finally looking at a time period, and this I know it's 2 decades later, but we might actually be able to build some very nice Fend and Impale Amazons. I'm going to have some fun with that myself. And where can you find the Steel Pillar War Pike, right? So let's pull up where you can find this particular item. And we're going to go to a website which I have started to use more and more in my videos. And the reason why is because it's just a very good place that you can pull up things like this. You can pull up the very easily where these things are going to drop. So this is the Steel Pillar War Pike, and let me pull up the website. So this is Silo's Pen, and Silo's Pen is a pretty nice place to go for this kind of stuff. So so we have right here, I've chosen the unique item, Steel Pillar. And I'm going to put in that we have 150 magic find, which is a decent amount that I think most people can get to with relative ease. And we're going to go to bosses. And as you can see, it does not drop from a lot of bosses at all. In fact, it only specifically drops from Bale, Neelithak, and the Defilers in Worldstone Keep. So a very rare item indeed. And then if we go to the super uniques, we have Akmel the Cursed, Bartek the Bloody, Kalenzo the Annihilator, Doc Farron, Frozenstein, Lister the Tormentor, Neelithak, Pindleskin, Sharptooth, Snapchip, Shatter, Thresh Socket, and Ventar the Unholy. A very short list. Extremely short list. And then if we go to regular monsters, we can get an idea by zone. So we'll arrange this by zone. And you'll see we have Worldstone Keep level 2, level 3, and level 1. Underground Passage level 2. There are some monsters in Underground Passage level 2. The Travancore monsters, apparently the Hierophants and the Night Lords have a really, really rare chance of dropping it. That's like lottery numbers right there. Throne of Destruction, all the monsters in the Throne of Destruction pretty much. The Hellbovine and the Secret Cow level have a very rare chance of dropping this. That's a huge number there. Sewers level 2, Ancient's Way, Ruined Temple. Looks like a lot of level 85 zones. River Flame, Plains of Despair. We got Maggot Layer level 3, 2, and 1. So as you can see here, it's kind of really just the high level zones in Hell difficulty. Not a lot of low level zones, mainly from the higher level monsters. So it's going to be a relatively rare item to find, especially when you look at that boss list and you see that it doesn't even drop from Mephisto, it doesn't drop from Andariel, and it doesn't even drop from Diablo. So only Bale, Defended Defilers, and Neelithak. Very, very interesting. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when it is about a very slow and very powerful weapon like the Steel Pillar War Pike. And as always, keep watching.